Good day, sir. Today I will be discussing my code on the third Python hands-on activity, which is a Python game. So this is my code. Start off from importing the random module and the time module. And then we have to define start so that at the end we will be able to play the game again without reopening the program. So here, uh, it will print out the title of the game, which is a dice game, wherein the user would be guessing the outcome of the dice after it's been rolled. So print here as just a space so that the title would not stick into the input of player one. So player one here will be asked to input his or her username, and his or her score would be set to 0 as default. So guess one here is the guess number of player one. So he will be prompted to enter his or her guess, and will be asked to press enter whenever he or she is ready to roll the dice. So outcome one here is the dice, wherein it will be a random integer from 1 to 6, just like on the dice, wherein there would be 1 to 6 dots on the sides. So the for loop here is that for I in range outcome 1, so it will print out the stars depending on what the outcome is. Say the outcome would be 1, it will print out 1 asterisk, or the outcome would be 5, it will print out 5 asterisk. Um, this is basically for visualization of what the outcome is. So sleep 1.5 here is the interval for every roll. So if guess 1 is equal to outcome 1, it will print out great job. But if guess 1 is not equal to outcome 1, it will print out better luck next time. Um, if player 1 guessed the outcome correctly, so his or her score would be added by 1. So score 1, which is 0 plus 1, and um, that's it. Uh, it the print space here is the same as the print here, which will separate the parts at a space and not stick the player to input username to the end of player one. So player two here is the same as player one. The functions of the code here above, it's like duplicated, so it's basically the same function. So player two would be asked for his or her username. His or her score would be set to 0 as default. Um, he would be asked to guess the number of the outcome of the dice and press enter to roll the dice whenever he or she is ready. So outcome 2 here. So outcome 2 is the outcome of the dice for player 2, which is a random integer from 1 to 6. And for I in range, outcome 2 will print out stars depending on what the outcome is. And sleep 1.5, the interval of the roll of the dice. So if guess is equal to outcome 2, it will print out great job. Score 2, score of player 2 will be added by 1, so that's score 2, 0 plus 1. Else, if guess 2 is not equal to outcome 2, it will print out better luck next time. So print another print space just to separate, and it would be more cleaner if it would be run. So if score 1 is greater than score 2, or it's the same as saying if the score of player 1 is greater than the score of player 2, it will print out player 1 wins. But if score 1 is less than the score of score 2, if the score of player 1 is less than the score of player 2, it will print out player 2 wins because the score of player 2 is higher than the score of player 1. But if the score of player 1 is equal to the score of player 2, say they guessed the outcome correctly, both of them, or they didn't guess the outcome correctly and scored zero. So it will print it's a tie. So x equals 1 here is just like saying if x is equal to if x is true, and this is basically for the while loop. So while x is not equal to 2, which is if x is true, it will still run the game. But when x is equal to 2, it will not run the game and exit the program. So this will ask the user to if he or she wants to play again. So print out title, ask the player, do you want to play? Do you want to play? Enter 1 for yes and enter 2 for no. So the choices would be integers here. So if choice is equal to 1, which is yes, it will start the game all over. But if choice is equal to 2, which is for no, it will exit the game. Else, if the user input an invalid choice, say input 3 or 4 or etc., that is none of the choices here, it would print out invalid input and would be asking the user again to enter a correct choice. So if we run the program, it would look like this. Do you want to play? Enter 1 for yes, enter 2 for no. So let's press 1. So the username for player 1 would be Pete, for example. So guess the number. Say we have 2. Press enter to roll the dice. So 1, 2, 3, and we didn't guess it correctly. So the username for player 2, for example, would be Toy. Guess the number. Say it's maybe 3. Press enter to roll the dice. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's bad. So it's a tie because none of them scored. Uh, though we can also put a score here to so that the user would be able to see his or her score. So let's put the scores. So uh, to show the scores, it's basically simple. We just have to print out the name of player 1, scored, and score 1, and player 2 scored, score 2. So let's try to run the game again to see the scores. So let's select 1. Name for player 1 would be, for example, guess the number. Say we have 2. Roll the dice. 1, 2, yes, and we guessed it correctly. So player 1 scored 1, and username for player 2 would be, for example, Toy. Guess the number. Say we have um, 5. After roll the dice, 1, 2, and it's still 2. So player 1 scored 1, and player 2 scored 0. So here the scores would be displayed. Pete scored 1 and Toy scored 0. So Pete wins. Do you want to play again? So that's it. So let's try if it would uh, get to a tie. So enter choice 1. Pete, guess the number. Say we have 5. Press enter to roll the dice. 1. Oh, that's bad. Pick a surname for 2. So player 1 scored 0. Guess the number. Say we have 3. To roll the dice. One, two, and they both scored zero. So it's a tie. So do you want to play again? Let's enter two to end the program. So that's basically it for this simple Python game. So my learning experience in this hands-on activity is that I learned how the random function and the time function works, and also I learned how to define start and make a loop after a program ends so that the user would be able to use the program again without reopening it. Um, I also learned how to manipulate the for loop and the if else functions more strategically to be inputted so it would be used in a game. And that's basically it. So I also learned how to combine the while, if else functions and make a simple game out of Python. So that's all for this activity, and thank you for watching.